Hello everyone, my name is Nadia Angelina Adrian, Assistant Code NAY. So, in this video, we will talk about array in C program. But before we talk more about array, we have three practicum aims. First, to understand the function of array. Second, to understand the meaning of string as array of char. And the third, can make a program with array 1 dimension or 2 dimension. And for the next, my friend Fajar will talk more about array.
Hello everyone, my name is Fajar Aditya Pratama. Assistant code is FAP. Okay, now let's talk about array. What is array in C program? Nah, array is a structured data type that can store a lot of data with the same name and occupancy, placed in memory in sequence, and has the same data type. Nah, in this module practicum, arrays are divided into two forms, namely one-dimensional arrays and multidimensional arrays. Well, this is an example of a program without an array and with an array, where coding without an array will require more than one variables. As we can see, if we want to input student values, then we will need several variables depending on how many values we input. Well, this can take a long time. It's different from using an array. When we want to input student values, we only need one value variable by entering the size or lot of data we want to input. For example, the value we want to input is 100. Now we will enter the limit up to 100. So it's like this array declaration: integer scorer, elbow brackets open 100 and elbow brackets close. Don't forget use semicolon. An array can be illustrated as a locker, where the locker is numbered. For example, locker numbering usually starts from 1, slightly different from the array numbering on locker starting from 0. Now in this numbering array, it is not called a number but an index. So for example, a locker has 5 space. The locker index starting from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. The application of one-dimensional arrays use declarations. For example, given an array locker of 5 data with the value 9, 13, 14, 7, and 8, now the index on the array locker starts from 0 now, where the 0th index has an element of 9. Okay, so the content of each locker we call it an array element, as explained above, where the first index means the array element is 13. Now, here's an array one-dimensional declaration: type data, space, name variable, elbow brackets open, size array 1, elbow bracket close. For example, integer a, elbow brackets open, 100, elbow brackets close. Don't forget to use semicolon. Okay. And for the next, my friend Naya will continue my explanation about array.
Okay, I will continue to explain about array in this model. So everyone, there is a little additional syntax for this array model, namely starlen and full-studying. So, what is starlen? Starlen stands for string length. If in this previous material we have learned strcmp or string compare, now the syntax that we want to discuss this time is starlen. Its function is to know the length of a string or many char. By using the syntax, we can find out how many characters there are in the string. Now, to use this syntax, we have to use a library whose name is string.h. Next, for first starting. If we don't use the function gets below, it will not enter the value we entered and it won't be processed in the program. So, the function of this flash is to empty the input buffer so you can input data that couldn't be input before. Now we continue with multidimensional array. The concept of a multidimensional array is the same as a one-dimensional array. The difference is the index limit of this array is more than 1. Array declaration is type data underscore variable name bracket array1 size and bracket array2 size. Now, because this is a two-dimensional array, the array size is also 2. Now, for example, int a bracket 100 bracket 100. Okay, for an example tables, as you can see, now this also illustrated that the range is for rows 1, it's m, and for columns 1, it's n.
Okay, the next is array of string. Now, what is an array of string? Array of string is a concatenation of characters. What we must pay attention to is that we learning about \0 or the called null character. Now, the function of this null character are many. Namely, the null character is actually the sign adoption of the programming language before the C language. The second is to simplify the calculation of the length of the string. For example, with the null character already indicates that this is the end of the string by using \0. For example, asset. Now, at the end of P, it's given a null character. Now, it indicates the termination of the string. And the last function is a memory allocation. Okay, that's all for the discussion of the module. For an explanation of the code, my friend will explain.
Hello everybody, my name is Ferry Chandra and my assistant code is Faye, and you can also call me Faye. Today I'm going to explain to you about array. First of all, let's say we are going to input student score to the data. If we have 5 students, we have to make everything from one by one like this. And it's going to be very, very ineffective, especially if, like, imagine you have 100 of students and you want to input the scores one by one. It's really, really ineffective, and you will use very much variable as this. And it will be really messy. Imagine like you have a score 100. It will be really, really much to do, much work to do. So array exists to make everything simpler like this. So in the array, you can make a variable that can store many of data in the same block of memory, and it will really make everything much more efficient and much simpler, as we can see in the source code here. And you can also customize it. Like if you want to put 3 of the data, like you can make it 90, 85, or 87 like this, or easy you can make like 5, like 19, 98, 97, 95, or 96 I mean, or 95. It really is much more efficient and much more simpler, isn't it? So what is the main thing that we need for array? First of all, we have this, the square bracket. So what does it do? It actually tells the program that, hey, it's an array and you can store more than one items in it, more than one value in it. So what does it call? It is called as indices. And every indices in the array, in the C language, of course, starts from 0. So it's actually like reading from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and like that, and so on, so on. to the maximum of this much. So that's it. And then next we have this loop. We have learned about loop before, and in this loop we can pretty much do everything like this. Like we are going to print everything out and input everything out here. We're going to input the data, and using this square bracket and I is actually the iteration, the number of iteration that will be the index of the array. And then that's it for the array, for the basic of array. And the next, we can have not only one-dimensional array like before we have done, but we can also have multi-dimensional array. This a very similar example is like the matrix we have learned in math. Like if I run this, we have like we have 2 by 2 matrix, and the first line and first column, like we add 1 2 3 4, and then we add 5 in the line, in the first line and second column we add 5 and 5 and 5 again. We get the result like 1 plus 5 we get 6, right? And then 2 plus 5 we get 7, and then 3 plus 5 we got 8, and then 4 plus 5 we got 9, like that. And really basically that really how it works. And then oh yeah, the thing that makes it different is like it has 2 square brackets like this. It's like this is the first dimension and this is the second dimension, like that. That's how it works, and that's how we make it. And then the array of struct. So a struct is actually a really handy way to deal with a lot of data. So in the struct we can actually store more than one data type, like this. We have the string here, and then we have the integer. And then in this program we can actually run everything like this. So let's just run this right away. Let's say that we have 2 students versus, yeah, whatever, my name, and student number, and then the grade, and then like this, and we have the grade of this, sorry, the number is like this, grade like this, and pretty much it stores the data in one memory block like this, and it will pretty much give everything that we input, right? Like the name, the student number, and the grade. Name, student number, and the grade. And it's really organized. Really nice to see that. So the way you make a struct is like this. This way. And you can pretty much make the same thing like that. And then the array of char. So it actually works a little bit unique. It's like we can see here, it's actually char with the length of it. So you have seen like the array have the square bracket, but if you make strings, you also make the same thing, don't you? Like this. We make it this way. So strings are actually a collection of char that is compressed into one and stored into one variable, like this. And in this program, we can see that the reversed word, we are going to make the reversed word for it. And then here we can see, over here we can see, like if we print everything from the back to the first. Okay, let's just run this anyway. So like the word, we are going to put my assistant code away, and we can see, as we can see here, it is reversed. It is because the program prints every single character from the end to the first. It works like that. That's for the array of char. So array of char is actually a string. And then what about array of string? Like string is actually array by itself. But how do you make array of strings? It actually work like multi-dimensional array, but for the first one we make it like for the length of the string that we can make. Like if we add 5, we can only have 5 char 5 characters in the string itself, but if we add 20, we can have 20 of the characters for a string. And the second one is going to be how many items that it can store. And then let's just run this right away, shall we? So let's say we are going to put 3 names here, like this, and this, like that, and we get the same output. Like the first name is Fairy, second name is Chandra, and third name is Faye. Like it stores the data very nicely and very neat in the memory. And why do you use array? You use array because it actually really saves you a lot of time, and it really saves a lot of memory for your program. And that's it from me. Thank you for your attention, and see you